Now, we have the Betfred Super League coverage and the England World Cup match to get through, and we'll start off the action with round 10 of the Betfred Super League. Wakefield against Castleford. The Tigers sneaking home 18-12.
Well, it's a closer match than what I'd say a lot of people would have predicted. But going back over the last 3 weeks, Wakefield have been playing good footy and they've won 3 in a trot. So it's good to see that they're getting better as the season's going on. But they've unfortunately lost to a top side.
Well, Castleford was not playing well. Put it bluntly, this is their first win in about a month. The only other win they would have had, the cup tie semi-final against Warrington.
That is very
Other than
true.
that, their league form has actually been rather poor going into this.
Yeah, would you think the momentum might carry across from the Challenge Cup to the league? But obviously it hasn't, and the results have shown us. And finally, because they won against Wakefield, and might get the league season back on track for them.
It was a scrappy win. And I definitely felt there were stages when you would think, could Wakefield upset Castleford here?
Yes.
For the first time in about 8 years.
But no.
No, it didn't happen. They got very close. I mean...
It was the only converted try, in it?
The right edge of Wakefield definitely felt it, both with Michael Shenton and Jordan Turner owing over.
Yeah.
And there'd still be questions over their middle defence to put towards it. But Wakefield, I mean, to only be 4 behind at the break and then within a holler of winning, essentially, you have to give credit to them, especially considering everyone was thinking Chris Chester will get the sack here. I definitely think in the space of a month, their fortunes have turned around dramatically.
Yeah, and it's happened very, very quickly. Like I just previously mentioned, they had won 3 in a row coming into this match against Castleford, and before that, they'd won maybe 1 or 2 matches.
I think they were actually on a 6-game losing run before they got the wins.
Well, either way, they had minimal to no wins, and now fortunes have changed. This has come to an end. It's put a bit of a dent in their.
I mean, they're still in danger of relegation, but they're further away from relegation than what they were maybe at the start of the year.
Oh, easily, no doubt about that. So it's just a better percentage overall at the moment.
Oh, it definitely is.
And the more competition points than what Salford and the Centurions have as well. That has an effect and helps them as well. They've won. I don't know. I'm just trying to pick out what their best try of the game was. Either Pete Mataudia's try. John Turner's try set up by Pete Mataudia as Pete Mataudia breaks through the line.
Yeah, because he started on the right-hand side of the field from his centre position, and then he darted his way across the left-hand side.
Then passed along out to Turner, and who ran it.
Yeah, that's right. He stood up. Pretty sure Max Jowett was playing fullback for Wakefield in the game, yeah.
And then the other one was about Miller, who...
His first or second try, because he scored both of Wakefield's tries.
First try. I don't know how many defenders. I think there was about 5 defenders, and he still managed to find his way over. So they're the 2 standout tries for me across the match. But it was, like you said, a pretty even contest overall, even at the halftime break. Wakefield was still in it and couldn't quite finish it off.
Well, back-to-back losses for Wakefield. Castleford end the 4-game losing run, so that's opportunistic at the best of times.
Well, yes. And it says that it's like over here in Australia, over in the Super League, anything can happen. Like Wakefield could go back on a winning streak and upset more players, more teams, and be within the chance of fighting for the playoff series.
For the top 6.
Top 6, yeah. But who knows?
Well, someone who is definitely making waves for the top 6, and I think even higher, the top 2. The Warrington Wolves, after downing St Helens 6 points to 2. Now, you tell me Super League doesn't defend. You tell me that after this result right here. This is evidence of Super League defence.
It definitely was. It was a great defence on both teams shown in this match. I did predict a draw last week, the first draw.
And I obviously believe St Helens would win 13+.
So I think I had more of a... I think I was closer of predicting than what you were. But like you said, it came down to the defence. And both teams really showed how good they are. Overall, I think Warrington's were better because obviously they held
We're
St.
talking
Helens to a
about
penalty goal. So yeah,
the two-time reigning champions you held out. This is a side that has been crowned the best attacking side twice in the last 3 years.
and they were held to like only a sole penalty goal from Lachlan.
They're held triless. To hold the champions triless.
This
is a big statement of intent from the Warrington Wolves right here.
And this is St. Helens'
Second
loss in the last 5 matches.
And Warrington, of course, won on 4 of the last 5. And based on other results that have and have not gone ahead, they're smelling blood in the water. Wigan, Catalan, they know what's coming with this Warrington side based on their current form.
Yeah, it was a close match, but like I said, their form is definitely behind the Warrington Wolves. As you said, they won the last 4 out of the past 5 compared to St. Helens' last 3 out of 5 wins. It could have gone either way, but...
It definitely could have gone either way. There's no doubt that St. Helens are a very talented side, and it's not like they didn't have anyone out. They were practically as full strength as you can get.
Both teams were practically.
I mean, no Mark Percival, but that's been a recurring issue for the Saints for some time. Of course, there's no Greg Inglis. There's for Warrington, but that wasn't really a problem for the Wolves.
Well, no, not at all. And the half-time score was 6 points to 2, and that's what it was at full time. So all the points literally came in the first half. Both teams had multiple, and I'll say multiple opportunities of trying to get more points on the board during the second half.
Defense was just a showpiece.
No.
It was dead set. It was a genuine showpiece of that game.
The whole game, pretty much, was the edge of your seat stuff. Especially in the second half, where they were so close to... Well, both teams were so close to scoring. The little Frenchman, he threw a pass which hit the ground, ended into Ufan Lomax, but it went forward. So there was one opportunity.
Half chances, knock-ons and forward passes at the end of it.
St. Helens forced a goal line dropout. So there would have been a chance there for Warrington Wolves. The Wolves had desperate defence. Desperate defence by St. Helens. Or what? No, hang on. Desperate defence by the Wolves forced a mistake from St. Helens 1 metre out from scoring. That's desperate stuff.
It was bloody brilliant, I think.
But they were lucky they had
that was the high watermark of Steve Price's Warrington career. Because, remember, he beat St. Helens in the 2018 semi-final to get them through to the grand final. He beat them in the 2019 grand final to lift the Challenge Cup, and they held them to 1 try. This time, this is the high watermark. Tryless against St. Helens.
Yeah.
Since Justin Holbrook took over, and with Christian Wolff now succeeding in Holbrook's shoes, this is Steve Price's high watermark. This is probably the best Warrington performance, I would have to say. Not the flashiest, because Warrington are definitely the best attacking side at this stage of the season.
Yes.
But this was their best defensive display I have seen.
Yeah. Just quickly, the only sole try went to Ben Curry. The ball did go out to the wing, and he was there to support, and they passed it back in, and he went over with it converting. So, yeah.
All she wrote on the try-scoring front there.
Pretty much. It was a nice, close game, which is what we like to see.
And the seismic upsets continued after that. Hull Kingston Rovers downing the Wigan Warriors 18 points to 8.
And they're continuing on their good form, the Rovers, of what they've been doing over the past, well, you could say, month lately.
I want to know what the more interesting thing about this result was. They downed the 2020 league leaders and grand finalists, and their best half wasn't actually playing. Jordan Abdul wasn't there.
No, he wasn't.
No, the halves combination was Mikey Lewis and Brad Takarangi. So without their best playmaker, and I mean, of course Wigan were missing Bevan French because he was injured and Jackson Hastings was playing at fullback, but to go out without their best playmaker and put on a very decent performance...
And won by 10
I'm
points.
gobsmacked. I am literally gobsmacked that this actually happened.
Well, that just goes to show that the Rovers can still win without a key player. So the
very much a
the
key
team
player.
obviously will be better if he was playing, if Jordan Abdul was playing. Because he was out, it just shows that they could still win matches without him. And yes, it might have been, if Abdul was playing, it might have been a bigger scoreline. But if Bevan French was playing, it could have been.
It would have been a Wigan. It would have been more comfortably a Wigan victory.
Maybe not. It could have been a lot tighter.
And
it could have been a lot tighter and a lot more.
This was in spite of Oliver Gildart playing his first game for this year and scoring a double straight up in the second half. But then just Hull KR took back control, and the Robins.
Yeah.
Ben Crooks. I think Ben Crooks was the standout for the Robin in this game. 1 try, 98 running meters, 13 tackle breaks, as well as serving as the goal kicker, in which he converted all 3 tries.
Yeah. No, he's been having a good season, Ben Crooks. Like the whole
and Ryan Hall as well. Ryan Hall continues to top the try scorers charts.
The whole KR team in general are going well this season, and like I said, they are quietly but surely making their way up the ladder.
I think you had Hull KR in your top 6 at the start of the year, didn't you?
Believe I did, yes.
Because you went for the unorthodox approach, while I went more standard and realistic looking.
Well, I said that Salford will be second, and that's not happening. I said that Warrington will be plagued by injury.
And Wigan. You both had Wigan and Warrington in your bottom 4, and they're both in the top 6.
Yes. Some around about 50.
But this is, mind you, this was your first year properly viewing the Betfred Super League, so you were going to get some things wrong.
Oh, yeah, but now...
In contrast, I've been viewing it for the last 4 years, so I knew exactly what the hell I was talking about.
Yeah, I'm getting into it more now. Obviously you can't see, but I've got Salford merch, so because Salford's my team. So.
And speaking of that is a very convenient segue to talk about this next result out of the John Smith Stadium. The Salford Red Devils, 9, downing the Huddersfield Giants, 8.
With 12 men on the field.
Now tell me, walk me through that. What went wrong for Huddersfield, and why was it 12 men?
Well, the 12 men was because there was a red card.
And who was red carded?
Good question. I can't remember who.
Oh, how convenient. Just how convenient.
Well, you just said previously, it's my first proper year watching the Super League, so I'm still learning. I'm still learning how the number system, like how they have like the numbers they choose for the player.
I definitely think, just off the bat, Ian Watson will be thinking to allow Andy Ackers to score, most likely scoring from dummy half at close range, goal line defence would be the biggest priority.
Yes. Sorry, I know who it was. It was Dan Sargentson.
So why did Dan Sargentson get marched from the field?
Because he did something very naughty.
What did he do? Come on, don't play word games. Did he gouge someone? Did he, same thing Joel Tompkins got banned for in elimination final last year against Catalan?
It was a very, if memory goes back, it was a very high shot.
That would do it.
That would do it, especially, I know here in Australia they're cracking it down a lot, but I don't know about, I don't
They haven't had the same problem with the crackdown.
Yeah. But yeah, a very high shot led to Dan Sargentson getting the red card.
All right, whose head did he take off?
A Huddersfield Giants player.
All right, smartass. It was a Huddersfield player. Very nice work. Which Huddersfield player?
Someone in the up front, like in the forward pack, like forward edge player. It wasn't Joe Wardell because he scored later on in the match.
So, was it Greenwood? Was it Kenny Edwards? Was it?
I believe it was Kenny Edwards. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, definitely shows Oja, our research when it comes to our league broadcast games is it is absolutely mint. But we will be better on this front.
Yes. Was I correct though?
Well, I don't know.
Please comment below who it was, so then we can say the right things at the right time and not be or not making myself look stupid like I currently am. But anyway.
Moving on, just so we can cover that part up.
Yeah, so with the chance that Salford got to take the 2 points, they did. No, sorry. Huddersfield got the 2 points after Sargent got the red card. And then later on in the match, when Huddersfield gave away a penalty,
then
Declan Patton decided to take the penalty. Well, you bend a man down, you take as many points as you can. And he took the right points. And then, as you know, at the
Chris
end,
Atkin.
Chris Atkin with over 10 minutes to go, surprisingly.
So he took the drop goal early.
Round about. It was the 67th minute. There or there.
That was a bit risky, especially if Huddersfield got up, finally found some feet and got a try on the board.
Ooh, yeah. But it was risk and it was rewarded with a 1 point victory. So I'm very happy about that. Finally, Salford got a read. And I said to kind of off air, since I got my Salford merchandise, they won.
Don't take this as an indication of a change of fortune. Just because this clown here thinks now that he's got Salford's away kit, home kit, and a few other things that he's all decked out in front of me, that Salford under Richard Marshall are going to turn around.
Just quickly, Andy Ackers for the obviously Salford to get the try.
I already said Andy Ackers scored the try.
Yeah, but straight from dummy half though. How easy is that?
That is poor. That's what something Ian Watson.
Like out and in.
So this is now Salford 1, Ian Watson 0.
Yes, and
our final result from round 10 of the Betfred Super League, because the Catalan-Leeds clash had been postponed due to reasons that if we actually do talk about, we might actually get censored off this platform, so we're not going to talk about them. So, due to positive cases of the certain thing that we're not allowed to talk about, the final clash of round 10 was Hull FC downing the Leigh Centurions 64-22.
I wouldn't call it downing. I'd call it
Annihilation.
Yes.
Extermination. Actually, that could probably get us in trouble because I used the word extermination.
Annihilation. Let's go with that. Bleep out extermination.
We're probably not. Again. I'm not going to go back and edit this out where I come up with a completely different reason that I said.
That word.
Yeah.
I was going to go beep for now. But yeah. Hull just absolutely put Leigh to the sword. Yes, I know Leigh in the last couple of matches were within
striking distance.
Within striking distance, but that went completely out the window.
It went horribly wrong from the start. I mean,
within the first minute, Jake Connor crossed in the corner. First minute of the match.
That's embarrassing.
That is not on.
That is embarrassing.
Not on.
But then again, Castleford did do the same thing within the first 45 seconds against Hull FC, but they did end up losing the game after that. Even though Gary scored his first ever try as a Castleford Tiger.
True.
But the landslide didn't stop there. Just
34-6 at half time.
No Josh Griffin, no Carlos Chumavave, no worries. We got Mahe Fanua.
Yeah. He's even with Carlos Chumavave playing and Griffin, he's still been getting a regular run, Mahe Fanua, and it's
the whole cult favourite.
Pretty much.
Nothing more you can say. And Adam Swift, since making a permanent move to Hull FC, found a home on the wing.
He definitely has. He has scored, I don't know how many tries in the last couple of games, but
You'd need more than a hand and a broken leg to try and cut them all up.
Yeah, he's been in absolutely awesome try-scoring form at the moment.
And Jake Connor, I mean, I was struggling to pick out who was Hull FC's best player. So I've gone with two. First,
wow.
Not the first time I've done this.
Sorry.
Andre Cervello, first up.
Yes.
3 tries, 131 running meters, 2 tackle breaks.
Yep.
And then Jake Connor, despite not running as hard as Cervello, 1 try, 4 try assists on top of the 1 tackle break, even though he ran for 56 meters. But that level of involvement, with almost half of Hull FC's tries scored, that's just crazy.
Well, Jake Connor set up Cervello for his third. There's 1 try assist there. Jake Connor, he's just been in superb form this year.
And there's going to be a little bit of controversy about him when we get closer to it, after we do the round 11 predictions. But I gotta feel sorry for Derek Beaumont because he's a proud League man who owns the club, and having these results go against him, I want it. He actually decided to come back on the Facebook, and he didn't miss. I would say he did not miss. It's just like he said, I'm going to defend my players, coach and staff, and to suggest that they do not care, in his words, that they do not care and have no effort is an absolute disgrace. And that the people who boo, please do not come. If you have a season ticket and want a refund, let me know by contacting the ticket office, and I will personally come and swap it with you for cash. To those who say we should buy players, please tell me which supermarket I may go and buy them from, and I will pop in and pick them up. And saying you do not see the hard work and individual detail put in by everyone. Now look, I think we have been a little bit guilty about overly criticising the Leigh Centurions to an extent.
But you have to think that they only came into the Super League at short-term notice.
It was short-term notice. Now,
so
look,
they had to get a team
I came in just as Leigh got promoted to Super League, and I thought the Leigh Sports Village looked absolutely gorgeous as this little stadium. It just looked beautiful. And
it still does.
And the 2017 Leigh story, the Leigh story that went into their season, that they were 80 minutes away from maintaining their place at Super League. It was just unfortunate that the Catalan Dragons came out in the second half and pushed Leigh back into the championship. That 27, like the London Broncos story in 2019.
Yeah.
Leigh were in it up until the bitter end.
Yeah. They were at wrong kind of end of the scoreline.
I think we know Leigh's defence is an issue, and they still do have middle forwards like Ben Flower that have not yet debuted for the Centurions. But they're not. Put it this way: at least they're not the worst attacking side in the league, unlike my colleague on the other side who decided to back Salford, who seems to be developing the worst attack in the Betfred Super League overall. But
I know how to pick them.
Yeah, you do know how to pick them on both sides of the world.
Yes. No, but I agree. We kind of have gone a bit hard on Leigh, but you said to an extent, and like I just said, they had to prepare a team quicker than and shorter notice than what other teams have had.
Yeah.
Because of the issues with Toronto Wolfpack. But home fans booing the home side, that's wrong. You don't do that.
Not even the Broncos.
No.
Not even the Broncos.
Or not even the Dogs on the bottom of the ladder.
I don't think I've ever seen a home crowd boo the Dogs off.
Well, as you know, we went to the
Queen's birthday
match. Yes, I know the Dogs won, but it wasn't a single boo from Dogs fans. Yes, I know they're winning, but anyway. But you just don't do that. You're either passionate about your club and you stick with them through the tough times, like the Broncos and the Dogs have here in Australia.
Yeah.
You either stick on by...
I mean, personally, you can curse, shout, holler to the roof and be miserable about how your side's down in the doldrums and trying to reminisce about the good old days. I mean, I'm guilty of that. There have been a lot of times where that's happened, but I'm still here. I'm still proudly wearing blue and white.
Yeah, exactly. That's what these Leigh Centurion fans should be doing. You either stick with them through the tough times and...
If Leigh actually managed...
And build on it. Like, build on something, like, start from the bottom, work your way up. Or, if you're not going to support them through the rebuilding stages, bugger off to another club.
I mean, there are richer clubs around that they could throw their weight behind. I mean, Wigan down the road.
Warrington.
St Helens.
St Helens, yeah, they're the top three. Catalans, they're going well
Catalans
season,
flying high, but whether the English would want to support a French team, that might be a little bit divisive there.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, for example, but...
Or even support a fellow championship club like Toulouse that is actually on the way up, or
exactly
Bradford, Batley, London.
Exactly. No, you just do not do that. That is disgusting behaviour from fans.
Put it this way, at least we could say they have not been in financial trouble like the Witness Vikings have been in the past. That They dropped down to the championship and they almost fell out altogether. So there are worse fates than being 0-11.
And look, Lee, they are getting points on the board. It's not like they're getting held scoreless every week.
No.
They've got 22 points against
honestly,
Hull FC.
Actually, now that you mentioned it,
Hull FC are whereabouts on the ladder, mid-table,
and they
I believe.
Who is?
Hull FC, they're around about mid-table.
Well, both Hulls are in the top 6.
Or top 6. To get 22 points against a top... Like, to score 22 points
and
against a side that's in the top 6.
This has been Leigh's results, albeit losing from round 1. But put it this way. Their best results, 20-18.
2 points.
They ran in 3 tries against Wigan early.
Wigan's the top side.
Then they 10 points in it against St Helens, the reigning champions.
Yeah.
Reigning champions, and you're 2 tries in it. And then Wakefield, Catalan, in 2 consecutive weeks, you push sides to the limit, especially the Catalan Dragons.
Who are like...
Those are top... Well, Wakefield isn't a top side. They had good luck on... They had good fortune. But Catalan, another top side. And you were able to stick with them. That was brilliant.
2 successive games.
That could have been upset of the year. Either side of the world, that would have been upset of the year.
Oh, easily. But there was that 2 games just recently that were in striking distance. One within 10, one within 6. But yeah, it's unfortunate that Derek Beaumont has to come out and say that. But behind the scenes, they will be working their butts off.
Every club does. I mean,
every club does.
It's just the public perception that does get a bit out of hand, and the media does take it.
True, and media tends, well, I don't know about over in England, but over here they do tend to put a twist on a few things. But no, I do hope that Leigh Centurions do get a win soon.
Yeah. So eventually,
as much as
something will give, and they will finally come out on top.
Look, I know I'm, as you know, a Salford supporter, and we are second last of the ladder. But it'll be good to see Centurions get off the bottom of the ladder for like a while. Even if that does mean the Red Devils go down to
into the relegation zone.
But I think it'll still be the Centurions, but they'll have wins this year. It's just a matter of when. Being close.
I think they only have to look back to the London Broncos of 2019. I think that's the last thing we'll say, because London fought their way until the very, very last round.
And they will do that.
And they could have been easily in Super League at the expense of, say, Wakefield or Hull KR or Huddersfield. They could have easily been there. Yeah. So London's example is the best to follow, I think.
Yeah. Now, Leigh will get a few wins on the board this year. It's just a matter of time. Not when. It's just a matter of... Sorry, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Because, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, they were within striking distance. Especially against a top side like Catalans and St Helens. But a big loss, well, hopefully boosts their confidence heading into next week.
Now, round 11. And this round could get very interesting because of the mid-season international window. First up, we have Castleford against the Catalan Dragons. Now, Castleford, we don't know who's going to be in the side until tomorrow. Wednesday our time, because we're recording this on a Tuesday night at Australian Eastern Standard. They'll be without Paul. Castleford will be without Paul McShane, whilst Catalan will miss their top try-scoring weapon in Tom Davies. Who's more of the influential loss here?
I don't know, it's kind of 50-50.
And keep in mind, the Combined Nations All-Star side has not been named yet either, so...
There could be more.
Really, we don't know until Saturday morning, Australian Eastern Standard, who's going to be in the Combined Nations All-Stars. So these predictions that we make right here, right now, the landscape of these could change almost instantly.
Pretty much. Every second that goes by, it could change.
I mean, James Maloney could easily be named as to partner Jackson Hastings in the halves for the Combined Nations All-Stars.
And then
so he wouldn't actually play.
So say we tip Catalans now, and Maloney gets picked. Well, then it will go.
Well, then
probably go
Maloney
back
doesn't
and
play
cost-
for Catalan.
Huh?
He wouldn't play. He'd be
He wouldn't
withdrawn.
play.
And it'd be
And
the
then
same
they'll go
story with Paul
back and-
McShane. He wouldn't be playing for Castleford. It'd be Jacques O'Neill playing in the halves. I mean, dummy half for Castleford.
Yeah, so anything can happen.
Oh, and not to mention, Sam Tompkins is also in the England side. So your best fullback and your standoff, as well as your best winger, they're all out. Or potentially they're all out. Well, Davies and Tompkins we do know will be out.
The good sides will be able to still win without the key players.
This could be this is a danger round for both.
Well, just look at Hull KR over the weekend. They were down without Jordan Abdul and still managed to win.
This is
I know he's one player,
this is actually
but
going to be
that
tougher.
same tactic goes towards Castleford and Catlands. If it's one or two players, they still might be
Especially
able to
key
make
players.
Especially key players. Like Abdul's been a key player. So
Right.
and they still
Decision
won, so-
decision to make. Oh, well.
You know what?
Catalan have not played a game in 2 weeks, so that might be a bit of a concern, especially if they're going into it without Sam Tompkins and Tom Davies, that we do know about, maybe James Maloney.
Maybe.
I'm probably gonna have to tip Castleford 1-12. I don't know. I really don't know here what the mid-season window holds.
Look, it's going to be a non-high scoring game. It's going to be a very low scoring game. I don't know if it's going to be as low as what St Helens Warrington match was, but it's going to be a low scoring game. But I think I know both teams have been in form, but the better team in form have been Catlan. So I'm going to go Catlan's 1-12.
Right. Okay.
It's a very hard one to pick.
Well, second game on the Friday morning Australian time, we have Wakefield Trinity at home to the Wigan Warriors. Well, if we thought Catalan was hit bad, what about Wigan? There'll be no Liam Farrell. There'll be no John Bateman.
Yeah.
So they've lost two of their best second rowers.
True. And Wakefield have been pretty... I know Warrington...
Two losses, potentially, with Joe Westerman and Reece Lynn both in the England side.
But it's still got...
And Jackson Hastings in the Combined Nations All-Star side as the captain. That we do know.
Yes. And Wakefield, as you mentioned, they've only got, what,
Two
players?
But then again, you don't know. Tim Sheens is playing the cards close to the chest at the moment. We really don't know who's going to be in and who's going to be out until Friday.
Well, put it this
and
way.
that's when this edition of our podcast will go to air, and we don't even know what's going on.
They've still got Mason Luno playing, that we know of, Wakefield. And he's been instrumental in what Wakefield have done in the last month of football. Along with other players, but he's been one of the standouts.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a tough one. It's like Catloon and Huddersfield.
I'm going to have to go... I think... Christ, this is harder when you think about it.
I'm going to Wakefield 1-12.
Yeah, I think Wakefield 1-12 as well. I just think with Wigan missing some of their biggest guns, just can they stand up, especially now that they're looking more vulnerable than what they have been.
And Wakefield are doing better than what they were at the start of the season. Yeah.
And the televised game at with Sky Sports, the Warrington Wolves up against the Leigh Centurions. For Warrington, Stephen Rashford's out, Toby King's out, no Darryl Clark, no Joe Philbin, no Mike Cooper. So there's 5 representatives that are going to be missing for England.
Plus...
And God knows how many to the Combined Nations. And Leigh...
Plus injuries.
Yeah, injuries as well. No Greg Inglis, and he would have been big for the CNAS, I'm going to say, because I don't want to say those 4 words over and over again.
Leigh Centurions, I highly doubt.
And if they get forward players back, because there's a lot of key players out, but at the same time, there's still going to be Gareth Widdop. Blake Austin will still be there.
They've been very.
Jake
very
Marmo has been very
good in recent weeks.
Has been in a good purple patch.
Uh,
Still Chris Hill.
but Leigh might be affected.
I
There
don't think.
might be more than 2 players. I don't know who, but there might be 1 or 2. But based on if your team's
There should be a game Warrington's expected to win, but with the caliber of players out,
and the Leigh Centurions, they, like we mentioned previously, they were in striking distance against top teams like St Helens and Catland. Warrington's our top team. I'm not saying Hull FC isn't, but
I'm going to have to go with Leigh 1-12. I just think, can Warrington win without their biggest guns?
it will really, really
England's
test their
hit them
depth.
hard, and Combine, and the CNAs could hit them even harder.
Look,
This could be a round of upsets.
it definitely could be. It will really test, in all honesty, it really will test Warrington's depth. I'm going to go Leigh 1-12 as well. They've been so close 2 out of the last 3 weeks. They're due. They have to be due. So Leigh 1-12.
And the final 2 fixtures, because Hull Kingston Rovers and St Helens are postponed, so those 2 sides won't be affected at all by this mid-season clash. But in their place, what's still going ahead? Salford versus the Leeds Rhinos,
Who play for the first time
in a couple of weeks.
But, as you know, England and the combined All-Stars.
Well, no Ash Handling, no Luke Gale for Leeds, because they're out on England duty, and potentially Ash Handley could earn an England cap. No Mikolaj Oledzki either, so that's 3 already.
And they haven't played for 2 weeks either.
So
that
yeah,
throws a spanner in the works.
It does throw a spanner in the works. Salford, well, no Dan Sargentson.
No, for I don't know how long. But because of the red card. I don't know who else Salford will have out.
Salford, I think if they need to win, they need to force, because there's still a lot of weapons. Oh, but then again, Conrad Hurrell, he would probably get picked for the CNAs.
With Kenny Seo?
Maybe Ken Seo?
He's had an okay season.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Rhys Williams, Elliot Keir, that could be in tension as the Welsh representation.
Yeah.
Tui Lola here.
It is so hard to pick this round.
God.
It's not funny.
Why Tim Sheens has not... This mid-season international, the CNAs should have already been announced. Why is Tim Sheen trying to play mind games with us? Why is he playing mind games with us? Can you answer that?
I'll try my absolute best. I'm going to contact him and see how we go. Nah. It's trying to make us think. And
we don't know. We really don't know. We're going blindly, so let's... And this is going to be the same story with Hull FC and the Huddersfield Giants. So, for Salford Leeds, I will say Salford 1-12. And for Hull FC Huddersfield, I'm going to go Hull FC 1-12 as well. Even though I think there'll be more players in the whole pack they'll be missing, as well as the backs. I think Hull FC will have a similar performance to what Hull KR did when they didn't have Jordan Abdul.
I believe Leeds Rhinos will be more heavily affected by the rep weekend, or whatever they call it.
The mid-season international.
That one. Than the Red Devils would. And I also believe that with Leeds not playing for a couple of weeks, that will have an effect on them as well. So I have Salford winning 13 plus.
Big call.
I'm not being biased. And on the other match, it's the same story around, but Hull FC will probably have no Jake. Oh, will Jack Connell be out?
No, this is where the controversy kicks in. He got snubbed by Sean Wayne for the England side, and now he's going to be selected by Tim Sheens for the CNAs, with him and Jackson Hastings being the only 2 men of that squad being actually confirmed to play.
So Mark Sneed's not playing.
We don't know. We don't know, and we won't know. And by British time, they won't. The England side won't know until 24 hours before kickoff. That's how long they won't know for.
I reckon what Team Sneeds is doing, he will know his team. He would have contacted the players who are in it. The clubs will know who's in and out, like who's out.
So why the mind games? Why is he keeping everyone in the British press and in the England side on tenterhooks?
Behind the closed doors, Tim Sheens would have his squad. The reason why he's probably not announcing it is to try and... How am I supposed to word it? Try and play mind games with the Sean Wayne side, because I believe, I'm not saying Sean Wayne's side is bad, but I think Tim Sheen's side might be better. That's why he's keeping his cards close to his chest.
Well, there's also every possibility that this game is not going to go ahead because there's been a lot of questions, especially some harsh criticism by the clubs and the Super League body against the RFL. The RFL has maintained that the fixture will go ahead despite opposition from the clubs and the Super League body because of the mid-season window that had opened up.
But my final prediction will be Hull FC 13+. They'll still be too strong, even without Jake Connor.
But how many others?
Potentially.
But how many others? We don't know.
But I still reckon Hull FC will win 13+.
Well, this will be a very interesting conversation we're going to have next Wednesday, our time.
It definitely is. It could go either way. It's like all of our predictions could be wrong. We've practically gone the same way, except
sort of,
except that you've gone 1 to 12 for every single match, not gone 13+ for 2. So
yeah,
who knows?
Now, meantime, the big deal: England are going to have a World Cup warm-up match in a revamp of the Exiles format that they had a couple of years back. Or more than 10 years now, I should say. And Sean Wayne has confirmed his 19-man playing squad for England against the Combined Nation All-Star side. This side reads at this stage: John Bateman, Darryl Clark, Mike Cooper, Ben Curry, Tom Davies, Liam Farrell, Luke Gale, Ash Handley, Morgan Knowles, Reece Lynn, Johnny Lomax, Paul McShane, Tommy Makinson, Mikolaj Oledzki, Joe Philbin, Stefan Ratchford, Sam Tompkins, Alex Walmsley, and Joe Westman. We do not know what the England side looks like. The Combined Nations, not so much. All we know, Jake Connors, one of the captains, and Jackson Hastings, is one of the co-captains, and Jake Connors going to play for them.
Yes.
That's all we know.
Yes, that is all we know. But that's just the squad for England.
Yeah, and we'll also
chop and change.
And we'll also post our final game, what we think the 17 for England will be, and as soon as we get the information for the Combined Nations All-Star side. But this is actually
very, very last
This is actually
minute.
a better idea what the RFL are doing, because what is Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and the Cook Islands? What are they all doing this weekend?
Playing.
No. They're not. What is going on is only the Women's State of Origin match on the Sunshine Coast.
That's right.
This Friday night. And the Men's State of Origin this Sunday.
Generally, there are more rep.
No rep matches confirmed for this period.
Which generally there is. Is that because of a certain... is having an effect?
I don't think the IRL for the South Pacific has even announced a proper rep calendar. The RFL think, all right, so the Aussies and the Kiwis, they're too stupid in their little... more the Aussies than the Kiwis. They're probably thinking, they're too wrapped up in their state of origin to even have it, to think about the Rugby League World Cup that's coming up at the end of the year. So we're going to get on the front foot. We're going to make sure Sean Wayne and the side he assembles is going to get some match time. And they've already got another warm-up game against Fiji they're going to have as well. So they get 2 warm-up matches ahead of the World Cup.
Compared to other countries and nations that haven't even had one.
Meanwhile, the Aussies, because they're expecting what the expectation is for the World Cup. England, Australia, New Zealand, and Tonga. Potentially one of those four, or either of them, is going to end up in the World Cup final at Old Trafford.
No doubt about that.
But, I mean, Tonga, understandable, because there's still a lot of internal board squabbling going on. But for the Kiwis and for the Kangaroos, no excuses. Why aren't the Kiwis getting a test match together? Why aren't they playing one of the Pacific Island nations? Why hasn't Australia announced a test match already? Eddie, what is our game plan for when the World Cup rolls around? What are we going to do?
I honestly can't tell you.
I mean, I know we got the Trans-Tasman Cup to play, but that should have already been played.
That usually plays round about it used to be around
Recently, it's been at the end of the season. Not good, especially if it's a World Cup year. It should have been middle of the year or early on in the season.
Anzac Day test too. Or Anzac
should have been
test,
not long after Anzac Day. That's what it should have been.
which is usually when it happens.
Before Origin 1. It should have been played before Origin 1. It should have been in a camp, get them together, try and get some match time. And because they're not the same sides they were 4 years ago. And England are gunning for the World Cup on home soil.
Well, being on home soil is an advantage for England for sure, easily. But, like I said, England will be there, Australia will be there, New Zealand will be there, and did you say Samoa or Tonga will be in the part of the
Four most likely.
Yeah.
Out of the 16 countries, I should say, because they are, of the 16 countries that are going to be here at this year's Rugby League World Cup, those are the four most likely.
But we never know. A spanner going to throw in the works.
It could be most likely the Jamaicans could be that spanner in the works. Personally, I also think Ireland is not that far behind because
PNG.
the Cornwalls. You never know what they
Because
could.
they were up there in 2017 World Cup.
Quarterfinal finalists against England, Fiji, of course, Tonga, the South Pacific powerhouse of rugby league. Maybe Samoa if they decide to stop arguing and just
Get on with life.
the Johns brothers and Sonny Bill Williams guide them.
Yeah.
But who knows? But yeah.
But a certain you-know-what plays a big factor on it too.
Yeah, there's certain things we're not allowed to talk about unless Susan Wojcicki decides, oh, these two clowns here, they're only a small platform, they're cannon fodder, let's kick them off.
Yeah, no.
Let's just say they're talking about certain other things you're not allowed to talk about in other parts of the world that are very well known.
Yeah.
But final prediction, England against the Combined Nations All-Stars. Where do you see this one going?
Like I said earlier, I think Tim Sheens is holding his cards close because I believe he's got the better side than Sean Wayne's.
That you don't know yet.
That I don't know of yet, but I think that's why he's holding his cards. So I believe Tim Sheens' Combined Nations All-Stars match will win in a 1-12 margin.
Well, I don't know what Tim Sheens is going to throw up. That's the thing. And they're going to keep, and we won't know until 24 hours before kickoff. By then, this thing would have already been up. So I'm going to say, because Sean Wayne has the Wigan connection of both present and ex-Wigan players in there, and because of the side he has assembled that I rattled off just a few minutes ago, I'm going to say England come out on top, and I think it will be a 13-plus margin.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, that is full time from us. If you liked either part 1 or part 2, or even both parts, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the Sideline Chat podcast so you never miss a week of rugby league action. Join us next time as we break down the Origin 2 fallout, whether or not we are going to be in a good mood or we're going to be wanting to throw every single Queenslander somewhere. I'm not saying where, just saying we might throw every single Queenslander somewhere.
In the ocean.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
It could be wrong. Could be somewhere else.
And we'll see how England and the All-Stars perform on the other side of this. And hopefully you enjoy all the Betfred Super League action that can be possible. Along with Mark Henry, I'm Connor Marcellus, and you have been listening to the Sideline Chat podcast. Bye for now.
Bye for now.